We can see Manny Liddy has got the job on Callum McCarty, the debutant, early. Beautiful bounce there by the umpire. Meggans gets the tap down straight to McCarty. He's wrapped up immediately, ball up.
They just want to start well, don't they, the Panthers here at home? They've got to make an impression here today.
Starting hasn't been one of their strong points so far. McCormack actually rode that tap there from Meggans. McCarty gets his first possession, looping handball over the top. It was speculative and looking for Duncan, but cutting it off there was Pudney. Langy certainly taken high, just outside the 50. There's options screaming for him. Harry Grant was one of those, but Langy decides to go down the lines and pops it up to Gasper, who gets a good clip over the ears for his trouble. He'll be lining up from 20 metres out. That was very, very clumsy, it's fair to say, from Claverino.
Yeah, Gasper's another one, isn't he, that gets under the guard. He's already kicked 5 goals this season, averaging 12 disposals. So, and there you go. There's the first one on the board. So, Chris, what a start here from the Bulldogs.
Decided not to wait for any ceremony and works his way straight around to get his first. His goal in both games so far has Jake Gasper, and Central Districts are 1 straight 6. South Adelaide yet to score, all have a forward 50 entry. Who supports community footy in SA? Amy does.
Yeah, just they're playing with a lot of confidence, aren't they, the Bulldogs? Averaging, they're almost averaging 100 points a game so early in this season, averaging 95 a game, and really attacking. They've changed their game, haven't they, from last season where they were only averaging around 66 points a game. So only a small sample size, I know, but a big difference this season already.
Back in the centre, Meggans gets the tap down. McCormack again roves away from the stoppage, and the Bulldogs will get another centre clearance as they come up towards a longish half forward. Wasn't able to quite meet it with the final purchase was Grace. He's been wrapped up strongly by Summerton. Ball up. So 70 out from the Central District goal. Tap down again. Ball just comes smothering out towards Grace, who received that from Dickmar. Ball ends about 35 out from the Central District goal. Plenty of numbers around it for both teams. They're looking for the exit here, South Adelaide. No such luck. Dickmar just navigated his way cleverly through the pack. Ball lands in the goal square, and walking through for his second is Gaspar. Ominous signs early here for South Adelaide as Gasper rewards both forward 50 entries for Central Districts. 2 straight 12. South Adelaide yet to score.
Yeah, great start here from the Bulldogs, and Gasper, incredible. We've only gone 2.5 minutes. It's 2 goals to 0, and haven't actually, South have won the last 8 at this ground, as we spoke about earlier, and already it's looking, they're looking in a bit of trouble here, the Panthers, already. We've only gone, as I said, 2.5 minutes.
Special comments from Dan Frangos, as South Adelaide just need a little bit of uncontested possession at the moment just to try and reset themselves. This is the thing with the younger players, when the pressure's on early, you start to feel that greater level of experience in the opposition, but very early days yet. Back in the centre, Meggans does get the tap down. Trying to work it away from the stoppage there was Ollie Davis, but wasn't going far in a hurry. Ball up. A little bit going on behind the ball there, so the umpire just throws the ball aloft to stop anything further. Sampson gets the first centre clearance now for South Adelaide as they go up about 40 out from defensive goal. But taking that mark there, the Dogs looks to work it away there through Little. Now he spots it up to McLennan, such a good distributor off halfback as a rule. Goes out towards that outer side. Pudney was waiting for it, just dropping in and knocking it through. There was Duncan. Cavalry arrives in the form there of Arundel, goes back to Duncan. Goes into the centre here of Flinders University Stadium, where it's Duncan, so Elliot Duncan and Charlie Duncan. Wilkinson could have been taken over the shoulder. Umpire lets that one go. It's all South Adelaide back here on the turnover. Sam Skinner.
Big addition, isn't he? He might shore him up a little bit in defence, Skinner, today.
Gives some real leadership and real poise back there. Wilkinson, he's been wrapped up straight away by Kendall. Coming through there is McCarty. He's broken his way free from the tackle, gets it back to Wilkinson. This is all by hand. Claverino pokes it forward, not his finest of moments. Only player who really spotted up there with conviction was Grace, who pokes it in towards the pocket. Skinner got the hand in. Pearce trying desperately to keep it in, able to do so, navigates his way around the Skinner issue. Now it comes out towards Hugo Munn, who assesses his options, goes long and strong and puts it through for Central District's third. They are 3 straight 18. South Adelaide are yet to score, and just a couple of turnovers in poor parts of the ground really costing South Adelaide.
And I reckon that Hugo Munn, I spoke about him before, I reckon he's the one that slips under the guard, isn't he? It's all the focus is on Grace and Pearce, that 2-pronged attack, but Hugo Munn's the third tall and can play as a second ruck as well. the former double blue, and he's now playing his 41st league game, and that's his 27th goal.
That's found his niche here after going back to the amateurs after a short career with Sturt. No, umpires aren't huge fans of him. Norton 4 on the free kicks this season. He won't care too much when he's nailing goals like that. So, Arlo Draper now going in next to Harry Grant. Tap did come down towards Draper initially, but it slipped through his fingers. Central again going up now towards half forward. Skinner comes out to meet it. Twisting and turning. That's nice work around Munn. Puts it now towards the feet of Davis as they work towards centre wing. Now looking through all that quick transition. Comes up towards Meggans, the unlikely rover. Just worried out of it. Ball comes out there. Little. I reckon that tackle lingered. The umpire agreed. So Bryn Little having a couple of nice moments early towards Presbury, the co-captain. Links it over the top now by hand. Works with Whitelam. Sends Central up towards half forward. Oh, too big and strong down there. Hugo Munn.
Been good early, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Now, all by himself in the pocket. This is poor defensive work here by South Adelaide. Manny Liddy bobbing up there. Not a known goal kicker. He has got one this season, but only 5 in his career.
Well, this is incredible stuff, isn't it? We've only gone 6 minutes here. They are now lining up for their 4th goal here, the Bulldogs, at a ground they haven't won at for 9 years.
At the moment, history is looking very much in the rearview mirror for Central. So Liddy to come in. Again, I reckon he needs to start this more from the left to the right with the way the wind's blowing. Let's see how he goes. Coming back. No, going a long way, hanging it right out. 3-1-19 are Central District. They have all the scoring in this contest. South Adelaide still waiting to open their account.
Well, one of the best defensive sides last season, the Bulldogs, weren't they? But as I said, their attack let them down. They've certainly fixed that in the early stages of this season.
They have, and at the moment they're corralling South Adelaide very much and forcing them into short speculative kicks at the moment as they're just trying to work it out of this back half. Ball comes back and forward towards the feet there of Draper. Turnover again. They poke it up in towards the feet of Munn. He's under a fair degree of pressure there from Shoeback. Ball comes out. Oh, Gasper couldn't get his 3rd, could he? Oh, you bet your boots he can. Oh, Jake Gasper's having a real party at a ground he's never played at. He doesn't mind playing here every week, I reckon. 4-1-25. South Adelaide marooned scoreless.
Well, it's only his 3rd league game. He's now kicked 8 goals to lead the Ken Farmer medal. There you go. I reckon 7 was the leader in Grace and Hosey. He now goes to 8 already, and Gasper, well, what a recruit he's already showing to be this season. And I'll tell you what, this is 4 goals, 125. If you've just joined us, South Adelaide yet to score, and we haven't even gone 8 minutes here at Flinders University Stadium.
Certainly ominous signs here for South Adelaide. No question at all about that. Back in the centre, the Bulldogs just really showing their class edge at the moment and showing that they've carried over that form from Adelaide last week very well and truly up the longest road trip in football. Bounce favours Meggans, but it's going to be recalled. Yeah,
57 kilometres to get here for the Bulldogs, Chris.
I can vouch for that. I came from Seaford Rise last week and I felt every inch of those 60 kilometres that it was. Going down to Elizabeth. Favourite ground just about the SANFL to call from, however. Tap down. Wrapped up there in the tackle is Barry. Ball up. So umpire throwing it aloft. Meggans taps down into the path of Barry. Grant extracts it from the centre square for Central District. Coming out there now to meet it how was Schroeder. He's been wrapped up in a tackle straight away. Ball up.
Just got to get their hands on it, as you spoke about earlier, Chris. They're just not getting their hands on the footy at the contest, the Panthers.
Meggans does get the tap down, slips through Arlo Draper's hands. He was trying to work his arms free. I reckon he's just about had Pryor, but the umpire disagrees, fortunately, for Arlo Draper. Ball up. I always say if you can work the arms free once, I reckon you've had Pryor. That's why I sit up here and not down there. Worked away beautifully there by Liddy by hand. He was looking down there initially for Schiller. Ball just comes smuggling out towards half forward again. Trying to work through. There was Barreau. Strong tackle laid there by Charlie Duncan. Comes out here towards Bradley. The only player he picked out there with any confidence really was Shoeback as the turnover comes. Langy just trying to get the arms free. Bradley was already on the move there. Dudley, I should say, was already on the move. Ball up, 30 out from the Central District goal, where the game has largely been camped for the opening 9.5 minutes.
There's another one up there, isn't he, Dudley? Another live wire they've got in that forward line.
Absolutely. Skinner just shoveled a handball out into no man's land, really. Grant works his way through traffic, Gets it off now. It's going to end up with McCormack. Oh, Gasper's working through. He couldn't have 4 in the opening quarter, could he? No, minus score. Gee whiz, but they've got to look at that matchup very soon. He's had 4 scoring shots inside the first 10 minutes, Gasper. 4-2-26. South still yet to score.
He's probably never even driven past this ground or anywhere near it. Looks like he owns it at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment he's certainly putting his foot in the till. Emil Bradley gets it out towards the outer side. Oh, Rundle went for a bounce. Goes back in there and addresses a mess he partially created himself. Put Clifton into a fair degree of trouble with that handball. Umpire circling. And it has been paid as holding the ball, much to the delight of a very vociferous Central's playing group under us on the bench. So Isaiah Dudley will be the man to take the kick. Very good pressure forward for them as they go backwards to Splan. Now Isles is out there. Little is next in the line, but he likes to go further down the line where he spots it up towards Whitelam. All uncontested football at the moment for Central District. Oh, and all sorts of space working in front of us now. It's going to be Barreau, who assesses his options, measures the kick up towards the hot hand in Gasper, but dropping back there was Summerton. So Summerton going sideways by foot. Now it's with Claverino. Hopes on the top. Collins. Oh, good strong smother low there by Liddy. Pearce. Now he's put it back in 2-on-1 situation when the numbers here are with South Adelaide. That's a great mark from Schroeder. Playing beyond his years of 19. Claverino, busy early, but that's not something that they would really like in the South Adelaide box. Means he's seen a lot of it in defence. Charlie Duncan. He's looking for shorter options, but he's going to be forced to go down the lines. He spots up Howes going for it. Meggans at the front, takes the mark. Well done to Ollie Meggans. Only averaging 1.4 marks in his career, and that's one thing he really needs to work on.
Just getting a bit of their hands on the ball at the moment, the Panthers. Just if they can get a goal to just at least give them a bit of confidence, that would be important here.
Meggans sends him up now towards half forward. Punch comes in over the top. Trying to navigate their way through traffic was Jake Collins. Grace, his kick partially smothered. Isles has got a little bit of time and space in which to navigate the situation. Just massage it forward down the lines. Liddy just drops up. Chips it over the top. Barreau. They have created the turnover because Wheaton was able to get the hand in there to bring it back to 50-50. Well done, young man.
Yeah, they've just settled a little bit better in this last couple of minutes, the Panthers. Just holding it up a bit. If they can get a goal themselves, just get themselves on the scoreboard.
Ball comes spinning back into Flinders University Stadium. Plenty around the ball for both teams for a ball up. Megan's just looking to drift forward now. So that'll leave Damon Freetag as the relief ruckman. Up against Cade Dittmar. No. Going down towards Hugo Munn. Freetag. Trying to burst through is Collins. Nothing doing. Ball up.
They only kicked 1 goal in the first half last week, South Adelaide. Only kicked 5 for the match.
Yeah, starting certainly is a trouble for them, no question about that. Working the arms through there was Barry, but he coughed it up to Charlie Duncan. Sends South Adelaide up and towards the forward 50. Wilkinson was lurking at the fall of the ball, so was Pudney. Both players go back into crowded contest. Umpires just watching it bobbling around. Ball up, no one had prior opportunity in that one. Just watch Nick Lange out this side of the contest. He's very good at roving these sorts of things and then sending Central back into an advantage situation. Ball up. Freetag and Munn. Munn falls to ground.
Is this more about how well Centrals are going, do you think, Chris, or is this more about how poorly South are going at the moment in this season?
Central's pressure rating has been exceptional, it would be fair to say, so that's playing a very large part, and no question about that. Trying to work through there was Collins again. Pudney at the pack, ball up. But you're right, South Adelaide, they just really do need a bit of uncontested football at the moment just to try and settle their nerves, if nothing else. Freetag, Munn. Taps down. Comes out now trying to work it in there with Schuback, who puts him up in towards the square. Trending back there is Whitelam. Got a little bit of time and space in which to assess his options. Spots up something he liked further down the lines. And Dogs, gee, they've got a plethora of options lining up for it. McLennan was the first of those, but he had about 4 to pick from. Now McLennan brings it out towards Lange. I was about a minute late with that prediction, but he's so good at working out of this half-back line. Now looks to chip over the top. Presbury's got all sorts of time and space in which to move. Thought about going to Dudley. Played down the lines instead to Whitelam. Everyone falls down and loses their feet. But keeping at the feet there is Dudley at the contest. Goes up in towards the attacking zone. Strong punch over Schiller from Summit. We're going to have a throw in.
Yeah, Skinner and Summit have been under siege back there, haven't they? And they've stood up when the ball's gone down there. They need a few helpers at the moment.
Summit and Schiller, the two oldest players on the ground, having a contest. Throw in. McCormack. Taps down. Free tag. Just bundles it now. Needs to set up. Now Sampson just needs to use his pace. Works his way on the situation. Puts it into a 2-on-1. It was to the advantage there of Fitt, if anything else. Now Liam Fitt absolutely loves these situations. Takes a bounce, takes a second, takes a third, takes a fourth. Must finish it now, and he works it back well. Just what South Adelaide needed to settle, and a very dangerous forward in Fitt to finish it off. They are 1-6. Central Districts are 4-2-26, and they do get the reward from the turnover.
That's the goal they needed, the one we spoke about earlier, and Fitt is actually the leading goal kicker on the ground from both sides. He's the only player on the ground who's kicked at least 100 SANFL League goals. He's now kicked 113, and this is his 85th match, Liam Fitt, at this level.
Has goaled in 5 of his last 6 matches now too. So that just gives South Adelaide just a bit more confidence now as Angus Bradley entering the arena. So, ball up, and Bradley has got Presbury going by his side. There's a fair mismatch in experience. 6 game for Angus Bradley, 138 for Presbury. Umpire just keeping an eye to make sure all of the checks and balances are complete. Free tag and Munn going in it. Former leapt very early, but was able to extract the handball away. They do get the clearance here, South Adelaide, up towards half forward. In forward to try and coming out and meeting it there was Draper. His pocket's been picked. Working in there nicely by Whitelam. Langy couldn't quite take it on the second purchase. Been wrapped up in a strong tackle. Too high, said the umpire. Jonty Sherback looks inquiringly at the umpire on that one, and we're in a good position, and that's...
Looked like a good tackle from here.
I'll let you drive that bus there, Dan, as Langy, centre wing grandstand side. Couple calling for it short.
Certainly protecting the head in the modern day.
Liddy was the first option, but Presbury was the second. So Presbury thought about chipping over the top now, but Harry Grant's already on the move. Goes back in there a second time. They go up in towards the pocket. Claverino again getting the punch down as far as his opposing 10 in Grant for a throw-in.
Yeah, they've been good, haven't they? Skinner, Claverino, Summerton back there, really holding it up, certainly in the last 6 or 7 minutes. And South just finding a way to get back into this contest.
So throw in. About 30 out from the Central District goal. Currently leading by 19 points. Tap down. It was straight towards Ollie Davis. Sampson was sold into a degree of trouble. Callum McCarty, I should say, not Davis. Working it back in there now is Larkins. Again, punch over the top from Claverino. Ball's back in towards a very dangerous part of the ground. Dittmar tried to work it back, but only as far as Skinner. So,
yeah, certainly a big inclusion, isn't he, Skinner?
Yeah,
He's certainly been good in this first quarter and showing his AFL experience there.
Certainly has. Arundel taking it 55 out from his defensive goal. Indicating he's going to keep it on that outer side of the ground. As they work up through the lines, Munn, looping handball over the top, search for and found George Kendall. He puts it up towards the top of the 50, almost taken over the top there by Larkins. Wasn't able to get the final purchase on it. Is that going to be a free? They're not taking the advantage, are they? No. Gee, the umpire took a long time over making that decision. Arundel back to Skinner, who's racking up getting the pill. Be handy if it's in Supercoach, but I don't think Jared Wright plays Supercoach. You wouldn't be thrilled with this sort of thing. So Summerton.
He's a swingman too, isn't he, Skinner? He can play up forward as well, so he has been used at both ends of the ground.
Handy to have that option, isn't it?
Yep.
So come down in towards the Munn direction. Presbury thought about the idea of going inboard to his teammate. Presbury cuts it back inboard, sets it up now for Whitelam. No, nothing behind him, so he's got 17 options sideways or backwards to pick from. Goes to the first sideways option in Splan. Splan towards a longish half forward. Defensive mark taken here. Last line. So Schroeder just trying to work it forward. Schroeder brings it back inboard, but it's now taken by Bradley. Chips over the top by hand now towards Sampson. They're starting to get a little bit of space now, South Adelaide. Sampson just works it in towards the pocket. That was a really nicely weighted kick. Just waited for the players to come to him and create the option, and our Fit will be lining up for his second shot.
Gee, he's a good player, isn't he? Sampson, I reckon unlucky not to have been picked up by an AFL club the son of Clay Sampson, of course, the former Adelaide Crow premiership star in the 1997.
24, there's still time on his side. Fit needs to probably start this from right to left, and that's going to be awkward for a left footer. But I tell you what, he makes that look absolutely simple as he gets his second. Good to see he's listening to the SANFL in our commentary box and looking for that win too. 2 straight 12 for South Adelaide, both through Liam Fitt. Central District are 4-2-26.
I reckon he was. I reckon he had a look back, gave us a little wave too, and well, that's important, isn't it, for the Panthers to get 2 goals in a row here, and I reckon Sampson set them up both times. Just been a really important player on the wing and got it to fit, and some of their experienced players really playing well here for South Adelaide. As you said earlier, they've got 15 players with under 10 league games experience, would you believe? And
in doing so, they've kept Central scoreless for the last 10 minutes as well. So that really does get it back to a slight advantage. And that's the sort of thing Jared Wright will be looking for, Daniel. He's going to want to break quarters down into quarters and thirds themselves and look at just winning more of those little contests in the sight of the bigger one. Back in the centre, Meggans. Tap down, worked his arms free and tried to extract the handball away. Get another centre clearance here, South Adelaide. Bring it up towards a longish half forward. That's going to be coming off the foot there of Isles, or was that just slightly above the knee? As Whitelam called him in for shotgun. Throw in. Top of the South Adelaide 50. Currently trailing by 14 points, the Panthers. After Central's burst out of the blocks and scored 4-2 in the opening 10 minutes. Throw in. Meggans was able to get his hands to it. Manny Liddy just been worked over. Ball up.
You spoke about quarters. South Adelaide have only won 2 of their 8 quarters this season.
Meggans starting to get his hand on the ball at the moment. Tap down, straight into the lap of Charlie Duncan, whose journey was abruptly halted.
Centrals have only lost 1 quarter, would you believe, Chris? Only lost the one. They've won 7 out of their 8 quarters this season.
Yeah, could absolutely believe that. Tackle load. Is that going to be a prior opportunity? He's laying on it. There's no way he's getting out of that one. Nice work in there by Ollie Davis as the Magarey medalist Harry Grant just looks up. A slight air of bemusement. Davis poking it again in towards the pocket. No, too long down there for the intended option in Jacob Collins. So Billy Isles will be the man to bring it back in. It's a sea of contest down here in front of us. There's no real free option anywhere to pick from. Dittmar, if anything, has worked his way free. So he goes out towards that general direction. It's going to be a free down the ground, and it's going to go to Central District by the look of it. Or is it going to go back and he has to kick over the mark?
Might be going all the way back. So, in fact, is it a free to South? It is. So, there you go.
Quite right there, Daniel. The confusing thing is the umpire pointed down towards the opposite side of the ground. So, Jacob Collins, who has the one SANFL goal, has scored in both of his 2024 matches, has yet to play in a South Adelaide win at league level, however. So, Collins.
It's an important kick, isn't it? So early in this game, but South are getting back in it.
Collins worked his way around, opens the angle, not far enough, minus score. 2-1-13 South Adelaide. They are exactly half of Central District score of 4-2-26.
Well, it looked like Central by how many, didn't it, about 10 minutes ago when it was 26-0. Suddenly, it's back to 13.
Presbury uses his full measure towards the outer side of the ground. Strong mark taken out there on the outer side. Now, Little can go sideways back to Presbury. Oh, coming off the bench there is Jez McLennan. He's been seen too. Now they've got Isles or McLennan out here. Telegraphed it somewhat, and that allowed 2 South Adelaide players to arrive not quite in time. McLennan takes it with his opposing Wilkinson bearing down in the 12s. Trying to keep it in there is Whitelam. He's run over the boundary line by Claverino. Ball in.
Now, Jared Wright will be certainly impressed by this last 10 minutes here from the Panthers. For a side that only kicked 5 goals for the whole game last week. They've had a very good little patch here.
Speaking of good patches, Callum McCarty's been among it nice and early on debut here as well from former Essendon VFL player. Tap down, straight into his lap. I wish I could pick the lotto numbers like this. I wish I could predict this sort of stuff so easily. Heavens above. You don't get anything for that sort of stuff apart from a warm inner glow and a self-imposed pat on the back. Meggans tries to work the arms free. Coming in there towards Davis. Grant. Sends Central up towards centre wing. Big fly at the back. I reckon that was premature. Umpire's letting that one go. Interesting. Shoe back. Felt the contact coming of his opposing 2 in Gasper. Ball up.
Well, McCarty's one of those big five inclusions, isn't he? Along with Emil Brennan, Sam Skinner, Claverino and Draper that have all come in today. Certainly the Panthers' strongest lineup this season.
Yeah, the Essendon VFL form's looking all right. Billy Cootie doing nice things at Nord at the moment. Elliot Duncan gets it back now in a 1-2 with Clifton. As they go up in towards the free tag direction. Hands were on the back there, not too much doubt about that one. Free tag was off straight away, but gee, just needed to wait, I think, a little bit and pull that kick because Central get the turnover straight away as it comes out towards Liddy.
Now it's Central's turn to hold up, isn't it? And they're doing a pretty good job here.
McLennan. He's got 2 or 3 players on the switch. One of those is Presbury, who he has seen towards that outer side of the ground. But dropping in there is Liam Fitt as the wind just held up. Idea was right. He had 2 free players there, but Fitt saw it coming and was just able to get there that split second earlier.
Well, someone had to stand up in this Panthers forward line. Very inexperienced side they've got, and at the moment, it's this guy.
So Liam Fitt, 47 out, works it back. Liam proving to be a very good fit in the Panthers forward line. It's not too often at SANFL level you have 2 forwards kicking 3 goals in the opening term, but that's what we've got here at Noarlunga. It is 3-1-19 at South Adelaide. Central's 4-2-26. They have now not scored for 14 minutes.
And that's the Panthers' 3rd goal in a row. It was 26-0 about 12 minutes ago. And now the Panthers they've got it back to 3-1-19 to the Bulldogs 4-2-26, a margin of 7 points. And we've gone 26 and a half minutes here at Flinders University Stadium. And Chris, this is a good response.
Absolutely, isn't it? And that's the sort of thing that Joe Wright will be looking for. With these sorts of situations, you'd be entitled to have a younger team put these shutters up early, but they haven't. They've just kept taking their chances. They've kept taking risks. And that's what it's going to be for this young South Adelaide team. Take some risks. Have a few 50-50 contests and roll the dice and see what happens. At the moment, they're only 7 points adrift. Beautiful bounce there by the umpire. Shane Harris will love that one with the morning coffee. But Central trying to work it away at the stoppage. Liddy was able to extract the arms free over the top. He was looking down there for Larkins. Kick just comes straight out of the air from the South Adelaide defence. They bring it out to a 2-on-1 situation. Comes in there from McCarty, which is the feet there of Ollie Davis. They're attacking numerically, but cutting it off there is McCormack, who works it down the lines. Gasper's found all sorts of space down here, 70 out from goal. Doubt that he's going to add to his goal-kicking tally with that. Pokes it in towards the forward line. 1-2. Pearce didn't quite get the final purchase on it. I've seen less than that one's paid. Clifton tries to bring it back in board, looking for Davis. Had the voice cruising past there of Charlie Duncan. Works it down the line towards free tag. Comes off the top of the knee, so that is going to be a throw-in.
Yeah, Pearce still not happy in the forward line there, but as you said, lesser ones have been paid. He kicked 5 goals last week against the Crows reserve side.
If he keeps giving too much dissent to the umpire, it might be a case of Pearce off. Throw in. Meggins, tap down. Works it towards Arlo Draper. Work one arm free, but umpire rightly pays no prior opportunity in that case. So, real quarter of 2 halves here at the moment. Tap through. Elliot Duncan working back. Schiller tried to get the foot in. Larkins. Elliot Duncan's seen him over the boundary line. No, Jake Gasper's kept it in. 40 metres out. Oh, he's tried the impossible. I got to admit, I was willing him to. I was willing it, but even magicians sometimes expose the rabbit early. Someone to bring it back in after out on the full.
I reckon he's had 5 shots on goal, Gasper, for 3 goals, 1, and that out of bounds on the full. And we've only played, not even at quarter time.
So it keeps going at that level, and we're starting to look at 20 shots of goal in the game. We haven't seen that since the Ken Farmer or Boz Daly days, or Freddie Phillips. As they work out of the back half here, South Adelaide. Tackle lingered, and it was high as well. So 29 gone. There's not going to be an enormous amount of time here, wouldn't think, for Larkins, I should say. So Larkins. South Adelaide with another forward 50 entry. Working at the back there is Dudley. Is that going to be a free to Central District? Yes, it is. And I reckon it's Jake Gasper at the front.
So I reckon Dudley could have played on then.
I reckon he wanted to too.
He could have played on and kicked the goal. And, this must go through for Centrals. It's incredible to say this. They actually need this goal.
Just to settle, you would think. Jake Gasper coming up for his 5th shot in this opening term, if you don't mind. After the siren, again, just probably needs to start this slightly left of the goalpost. If you're watching on SANFL or afl.com.au, there's a slight breeze blowing across the ground into our faces here on the western side.
He's probably the one that slips under the guard, isn't he? All the focus is on Grace and Pearce and Hugo Munn.
So Gasper comes in. Deliberate approach. He has 4. He has 4 goals in the opening term here in his first look at Flinders University Stadium. And that gets a bit of breathing space for the Dogs at quarter time. 5-32 Central District. South Adelaide are 3.
It's a quarter, and they just need a little bit of help. Liam Fitz certainly needs some help up forward.
Let's see what transpires here in this second term as McCormick and Megan's going at it, just slipping through Barry's hands. Sampson got the hand off. Now they're working off the defensive side of the centre square through Shoeback. A little bit too hot down there for his intended target. Trying to work through there was Bradley, Angus Bradley, who's been tripped, said the umpire. Now Bradley's had a couple of options breaking for him. Megan's is there at the top of the 50. Not sure if he's seen him, but he goes deeper in towards the attacking zone. Wilkinson lurking with intent at the fall of the ball. That's going to be a free kick, however, for South Adelaide. Free tag, I must admit, thought he was impeded in there, but I like to do the umpire's job for them. He does indeed get the free. So Damon Freetag has goaled 9 of his last 12 matches.
Yeah, and he's that other option up there that they need to stand up. Wilkinson's the other one, isn't he, that they'd like to get into the game, but this will cut that margin back to 7 points.
Seems to have been around for a long time, Damon Freetag, but it's only his 39th SANFL League game. As he comes in, he'll be kicking from 30. Distance will be no trouble. He should just work that one back. And he liked that the minute it left the boot. Why wouldn't you? It's now back to a 7-point margin, and we really have got game on here at Noarlunga. South Adelaide 4-1-25, Central District 5-2-32. Who supports community footy in SA? Amy does. Damon Freetag's first. All the goal kickers for South Adelaide, starting with F, Daniel, if you like your obscure trivia.
Well, you know, I was going to say all the talk's been about the Bulldogs before this game, hasn't it? 2-0 on the ladder, equal top on the ladder, if you like, and the Panthers right near the bottom, almost in a rebuild phase. But you wouldn't know it today with back to 7 points, and the Noarlunga. This is they want to make this a fortress again, don't they? The Panthers. They haven't lost to this side for 9 years, and they want to keep it that way.
Grant, he's been spun around in the tackle. Did get his kick away, despite the pressure there of Megan's. Schiller works it away from the contest, but that's going to be easily picked off there by the experienced Skinner.
Been good, hasn't he?
Certainly has. Ollie Davis is right in front of your commentary crew here of Chris Kendall and Dan Frankos, and he's going to take the mark. Oh, no, he's not. No, he had it spent before he had it. Was able to respond quickly. Comes it back inboard. Collins trying to work it away. Presbury spun around. He's had a couple of journeys there. Umpire's letting that one go. Splan, no, the tackle lingered after all that. Free, advantage to Central District. Grant gets it back in a 1-2 with Barry. Handball was partially smothered there by Howes. Splan. They're working it around by hand at the moment. Working their way into a little bit of trouble too, potentially. Central District, and the pressure comes. South Adelaide's pressure then was exceptional, and they've created the turnover. Jacob Collins right in front of us here in the SANFL Now commentary team.
They're in this contest. They're certainly back in this contest, the Panthers.
We're that close to the action, I don't want to suggest where there's a +1, otherwise it might look like we're supplying information. McLennan just drifts through and takes the easy defensive mark. So Jez McLennan assessing some options further up. Saw one that he liked down there with Langy. Jake Collins again, meeting it there, Clifton. South aiming to work it away. Strong mark taken here by Tom Wheaton. Have loved his work in the under-18s last couple of seasons. Sends South Adelaide up and towards the attacking zone. McLennan is trying to nudge his opponent out the way and get his arms free also. Taken over the shoulder, said the umpire. Eamon Wilkinson just has a look that speaks volumes without speaking a word. McLennan taking it at half back. Goes back in towards Isles. Now they're just going to work their way to the situation around that outer side. They're just waiting for something to present further down the line. And get it meeting up on that outer side through Splan. Central now just trying to cut back inboard. Summerton. Schiller able to extract the arms free. Central got the forward 50 entry. Langy's drifted down there all by himself for a fair time, and he'll be lining up for his first of the day.
And he's another one of those Central's players who's been good this season, hasn't he? Was good last week against the Crows, and this just a steadier for the Bulldogs. They need this one.
Nick Lange pretty reliable in these situations. Has goaled in 4 of his last 7 matches. And he'll be kicking from about 30. Slight angle. Won't be too much for drama, you wouldn't think. Umpire does do a little bit of work to their right, but that's more theatre than anything else. Major for Lange and the 6-4 Central District back out to that 13-point lead. They are 6-2-38, South Adelaide 4-1-25. We've still really got game on here at Flinders University Stadium, though, Dan Frangos.
Yeah, and that's Lange's 5th goal of the season. He's averaging 6 marks a game, and just an important fall, isn't he, up there for the likes of Grace, Pearce and Hugo Munn. They've got all bases covered, really, with Gasper up there as well. They've got Isaiah Dudley. They've got a few options, so certainly they've improved their forward line. They haven't been a great attacking side in the last 6 or 7 years, the Bulldogs, and certainly hoping to rectify that this season, averaging almost 100 points a game already.
Emil Brennan here on the wing opposed to Larkins. So Meggans again versus McCormack. It's a real case of Hansen. It's Mbop, you'd say, in the middle there. And as a matter of fact, it's Hugo Munn, my apologies. Tap down. The opposing 24 in Stamps was trending back. Schiller certainly held for far too long. Much to the displeasure of the Noarlunga grandstand people, I'm afraid I could see it very clearly, and so could the umpire. Hard to argue. Anyway, that ends my sermon for the day. Barry. So Wilson Barry wanting to go long and deep up into that zone. I can see Gasper's lurking at the front there with intent. Tap comes in. Are they going to run that through for a minor score? Yes, wisely so. The South Adelaide defence, 14-point margin, 6-3 Centrals, 4-1-25 now for South Adelaide.
And I reckon Centrals have got a slight breeze going their way in this quarter, probably a 1 or 2 goal breeze. South had it in the first quarter to your left of screen.
So Panthers to bring it back in. Davis was calling for it really short, but he wanted to go out towards the Noah Howe's direction. Megan's in there also. Looping handball was speculative. It did locate Draper and puts out a don't argue. Plays down the lines. Needed a kind bounce and got it there, did Liam Fitt. Now he's got the transition off towards Davis. Running through the centre in, getting it back at a 1-2 now, Ollie Davis. Just looks to chip it forward. That's really clever work to find a Rundle.
He's been impressive along with Sampson, haven't they? They've really got an unsung midfield there with the likes of those players, McCarty as well, Emil Brennan, and this is an important kick for South Adelaide to really get themselves back in this game. They've certainly been good since the first 10 minutes of the first quarter.
You'd back him in most situations here, despite only being in the SANFL for the 2 matches. He has goaled in both of his matches to date, and he maintains that perfect record to get his first and bring it back to an 8-point margin here at Noarlunga. It is 5-1-31 South Adelaide, Central 6-3-39. South Adelaide just kept taking their chances there, Dan. They just kept running and gunning, and I think that's exactly what Jerry Wright wants to see them do. Run, gun, and just bomb long to the 50-50s if you can.
Yeah, I reckon Davis and Sampson have been involved in most of those goals, haven't they? They're just getting themselves, they can win the ball inside, they can also win it on the outside, and they're really, along with McCarty, getting a lot of the ball. And, they've lost the likes of Gibbs, Broadbent, Haynes, of course, Brooksby in the ruck over the summer. Well, this young side is showing that they can stand up.
Certainly are. As it's Meggans and McCormack. Foreman gets the tap down. He's starting to get on top in the ruck battle at the moment, Oliver Meggans, and he's still fairly young in football terms himself. He's played plenty of reserves football. It's only his 6th league game. Stepping into the breach full-time with the departure of Brooksby. Ditmar's handball partially smothered. Going back in there was Sampson. Sampson could have been held. He's throwing out his arms to see if the umpires are noticing. They're not buying what he's selling today. Larkins thought about the handball over the top. Now he does. Jared Schiller, just when they need a goal from the skipper. No, couldn't quite work it back. 6-4-40 Central. That brings them out to a 9-point lead. South 5-1-31.
Yeah, no, they actually need a bit of a goal too, don't they, the Bulldogs? They started so well. It was 26-0 if you've just joined us after 10 minutes. Suddenly, it's a real contest. Back to 9 points here.
Elliot Duncan bringing it back in for South. They go a long way out towards the outer side. Skinner extracted the arms free to the last goal scorer on a Rundle. Going out again in towards the Angus Bradley direction, twisting and turning. That was really clever work to work his way back in board to Wilkinson. Arundel went past for the handball, receives. Chips towards the top of the 50. Saw a couple of options coming out that he liked. Links back in by hand now towards Sampson. Chips over the top. Davis, who sends it up by 25 out from goal. But that's going to be an easy pick-off in the Central District back line. And looking to go forward now is Kendall. In order to go forward, he goes sideways to Presbury. So Presbury up towards the outer side. Skinner opposed to Gasper. Ball comes spinning back in towards the top of the south 50. Presbury just nudged out of it. Fit had a flying shot, but Langing's going to work back there and take the mark. The last goal scorer for Central District.
He's going for number 4 there, Fit, wasn't he? And why not?
May as well have a ping. Liddy, 25 out from defensive goal. 9-point margin the Dogs' way. Comes out towards this grandstand side. He's looking down there for Schiller, but offered the pick-off option to Elliot Duncan, but the boundary line's going to beat them all. Throw in.
Yeah, just an important stage of this game. We know the Panthers have been blown away last week from about this point on, weren't they, against the Double Blues? So really important they stay in this contest. And Centrals, of course, about this time last week, got away from the Crows in that big 65-point victory.
Tap down. Meggins roves his own work. He's being held there. Not too much argument about that one. Oliver Meggins is having a real breakout league game here at the moment. It's great to see.
Well, we spoke about the loss of Brooksby, didn't we? And this man is standing up.
He's served his apprenticeship in the reserves for a long time. 28 years old, 6 league games. So he's had to wait for his opportunities. He's trying to work forward now is Ditmar. Up towards the direction of Isaiah Dudley. South. They're just taking their chances here again. Shoeback. The wind's going to take that one, but you think it's going to be a pick-off. No, you would have thought there was going to be a pick-off for Langy, but the punch comes in over the top. The Panthers just knock it over for a throw-in. Good work in there from Howes.
It's amazing what opportunity can do, isn't it? And Megan's here certainly standing up. And, the loss of those big experienced players, well, the young Panthers side is certainly standing up today.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Barry's pocket was just partly picked. Now, is that going to be another free to Meggins off the ball? Yes, it is. Billy McCormack's starting to get really frustrated with this, but he's given away 2 frees that somewhat unnecessary. Meggins towards the top of the 50. You can see players are just losing that one a lot. That's a fantastic mark. Taken down there by Whitelam. Not quite Leo Barry-esque, but it was just as important just about. Now looking for the exit strategy through Liddy to Grant. Needs to just sit up for him. Has to work his way around the Elliot Duncan issue. Extracts it away cleverly by hand. Wilson Barry, 55 out, chips it over the top. He was looking down there for Isaiah Dudley initially. Grace, who we've hardly called at all today, knocks it over the boundary line for a throw-in. No, does stay in play. As they go out towards the Arundel direction, it's going to be out of bounds on the full. Presbury, over the top to Schiller. Now it's to Pudney. So Pudney sends a real up-country mongrel punt up and towards the Pierce direction.
Yeah, geez, he's a good presence up there, isn't he? The big fella, Dale Pierce, as we said earlier, kicked 5 goals against the Crows last week. Had some AFL-listed players back there, such as Borlays, so he certainly stood up, and he's averaging 6 marks a game, and he provides that presence, doesn't he? He allows the likes of Grace and Gasper to almost be the second and third forwards.
That was a career high for him last week against Adelaide as well. Coming in in his 10th SANFL game. Looking for his 14th SANFL league goal. Lays back on it. Umpire's only movement is 2 fingers. And it's back out to a 15-point lead now. 7-4-46 Central District. South Adelaide 5-1-31. Central now just starting to put the foot on the accelerator and build that little slight buffer again.
Yeah, it's back to 15 points, isn't it? And yeah, they've got options, haven't they, in that forward line? They've, as we've spoken about, they've been a very good defensive side for a number of years. Just one of the worst attacking sides last year. Central's right near the bottom actually, and they've brought in a few players, and Gasper's one of them, and they've got the big presence there in Pierce. They've got Grace and Munn, and they've also got Wilson Barry who can play up there as well.
7th in the league for inside 50s, but 3rd for scoring and the most accurate team in the competition, so they maximise their forward 50 entries. They've coughed this one up here, South Adelaide. Schiller trying to work it forward to advantage, just burst his way through. Langy spun out of one tackle, spun into a second, taken high, said the umpire. Unlucky there for Schuback. So Langy got someone breaking on towards that outer side, hasn't seen them yet, indicating he wants to go longer than that. Langy gets up into a real pack situation, 30 out. Great mark, Sammy Skinner.
He's just been a big inclusion. Only played 5 AFL games in 6 seasons, would you believe? 3 for Brisbane and 2 for Port Adelaide. But he's an important inclusion.
Very underutilised, I thought, at AFL level 2. He's looking in there for free tag. Drifting through was Draper. All comes spinning back into the centre of Flinders University Stadium. Breaking out the tackle very nicely there, Charlie Duncan. And gets it back towards Schuback, who chips over the top. Saw something that he liked in there on the outer side. It's in the form of Emil Brennan. Goes over the pink boots, keeping it amongst themselves at the moment. Arundel. And now he works out towards Freetag, who takes it in front of Munn. Elliot Duncan works his way forwards, but has to go backwards to go forward so far, back to where it started with Arundel. So Arundel just putting the hand down, and in doing so, they're allowing Central's time to drop numbers back into that half of the ground. Arundel indicating he wants to go out towards the fantastic Noodle van, sponsors of South Adelaide this year. Tap down over the top. They're trying to work it back in board. South Adelaide. Long up in towards the 50. Plenty of numbers flying for it. That's a fantastic mark, Nick Langy.
He's been good, hasn't he? All over the ground.
Certainly has. Deserved a much bigger ovation than it got from the parochial South Adelaide fans. Liddy. Now goes sideways. And just waiting for something now through Whitelam, who just pokes it forward to Isles. Isles going out now towards Kai Pudney. I'll get Kai Pudney's stats from you in a minute, please, Dan. He seems to be down on the impact that we saw last week. Comes back in board now towards Whitelam. So Whitelam sideways to Presbury. The exit's just about on here at the moment. He's got play calling for it at this side in the form of Little. But he goes back towards Isles. Works it forward.
Yeah, Pudney's only had 5 possessions.
Yeah, can well believe that. And they've been under immense pressure, I would say. Whitelam. In board to Liddy, who chips forward over the top. It's back to Pudney in disposal number 6. He's obviously heard the discussion up here on the SANFL Now box. Works forward. Larkins. This is a really patient build-up from South Adelaide, from Central, I should say. Larkin works it forward, and it's cut off there by Arundel. Now, this is the chance for South Adelaide to get them on the turnover, because numbers had all started flooding down for the Bulldogs. Arundel, however, does go backwards to Schuback. Now he's got Elliot Duncan in space on the outer side. Arundel calling teammates to come to him. Thought about handballing over the top, but has to work it down by foot. In towards the pocket. Howes twisted, turns his way partly out of the situation. Wheaton was calling for the handball, but Howes wisely let it go over the boundary.
Yeah, you were spot on, Chris. The Panthers did that intercept. They should have got on with it. And really, to go backwards, allowed those Central's players to flood back and stopped an important forward 50 there.
Certainly did. Freetag, I should say, tap forward. Goes up into the attacking zone again here for South. Fit. Did get the handball away. Pudney, as soon as asked for his stats, he's been everywhere. Let's see who else I can talk into form. Goes on again towards that outer side. Taking it back there. Schuback, was he ridden into the ground? Umpire says no. Schroeder comes back and they're just working it around by hand at the moment. South Adelaide. Schuback. Munn's going to knock it over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Yeah, both sides really chipping it around a bit here in this quarter, not going as direct as they were in that first quarter. And Panthers, of course, don't want this to get worse than 15 points where it is at the moment.
Freetag and Munn. Later gets the tap down. Ball's still in dispute. South up towards the top of the stoppage. Whitelam, he's had a good last 10 minutes or so.
He's been important back there for sure.
Sure has. Isles. Oh, Wilkinson got the hand and brought it back to a 50-50 contest, and now brought it back to 70-30 by winning the ball himself. Langy picked the pocket very well. He's gone out of one tackle. He's walked into the next. That's got to be holding the ball. He had his opportunities, didn't get rid of it, Nick Langy. Wilkinson just still keeps it into the centre square. McCarty goes long up and towards the 25 zone. Megan's at the back. The ball's still alive here. They're going to try and work it through the central defence. Is that going to be a free to South Adelaide? No, ball up.
Almost need Wilkinson up there as well, don't they? They need to get him involved in the goal kicking. Very important member of the side.
Absolutely is. Meggins taps down, only as far as Liddy. They're going to see it over the boundary line for a throw in the central defence. On the edge of time on. Dogs currently leading by 15 points. I did mention Eamon Wilkinson. He's goaled 4 of his last 5 matches. These situations are made for him. Ball comes spinning back into Flinders University Stadium. Meggins and Munn. Tap down. McLennan was already on the move at the stoppage. Trying to work through Sampson. Is that going to work its way? No. Minus score. To the disappointment of the local crowd. But it's back to a 14-point margin Central's way. 7-4 to 5-2.
Just something happens when Sampson gets the ball. Certainly does in this game. Here's a chance, though, for the Bulldogs.
They do. Going on that run on the outer side there is Liddy, who received that from Barry. He's going up and towards the Dudley direction. I reckon he was impinged in the contest. The umpire agrees. Isaiah Dudley, goaled 3 of his last 4 matches. He's just within his range. Pearce is on the lead. Pearce is still calling for it. Now, Dudley's committed himself to going long from 50. That's going to land about 5 metres short. Plenty of numbers in the square. Free's going to be picked out, and it's going to go to Central District. Shepherding in the contest, said the umpire. And it's going to go, by the look of it, to Marcus Barrow.
Yeah, well, that hurts, doesn't it? The Panthers have been good since about the 10-minute mark of the first quarter. And this will really hurt the Panthers. It'll get that margin back to 20 points. 14 at the moment. We spoke about the Panthers winning the quarter. Well, they're not going to win it at this stage.
So Barrow to come in. Does he open up the angle slightly, or does he go for the purist kick? No, to the delight of those fans from the 70s like myself, he goes for the purist and puts it straight through the centre. 8-4-52. It is back out to that 20-point margin now for Centrals. After all of South Adelaide's work, they are on 5-2-32.
Yeah, a lot of work from the Panthers to be down by 20 points, and that one hurt. They had a couple of chances in their own forward line only a few minutes ago, and suddenly it went down there, and that's what often happens. You have the ball in your own forward line, and it gets down there once. Central's kicked the goal, so it's 8-4-52 to the Panthers 5-2-32, and we've gone 22 minutes here at Flinders University Stadium. Your caller is Chris Kendall.
South Adelaide have kicked 1 goal in the last 23 minutes of football. That's going to be a concern for them at the moment. So back in the centre. Freitag having a run in the ruck. Umpire's just completing all of the checks, balances and equations. He's ready to hurl it into the Noarlunga turf. Perfect bounce. Freitag. Tap straight down to McCarty. Grant works it away from the stoppage, however. Up to centre half forward. Elliot Duncan is going to send it straight back from Wentz and Combe. It's like watching a big game of pinball. Ditmar just lost that slightly, entitled to it. It was up a long time in the air. Kendall's wrapped up in a tackle straight away. Ball up.
Been good, Kendall. A couple of Kendalls have been good today, I reckon.
I'd say he's shading me at the moment. But thank you. I appreciate the kind thoughts.
A couple of them been. No.
Tap down. Sampson. South. Oh, kick's been partially smothered. Now it shines it up towards Jared Schiller. Runs straight into a tackle there at Aiden Grace. Is that holding the ball? Either way, it's a turnover. Now South's just looking to work it out of the zone. Up and towards the Collins direction. Grant. Free kick's been picked out, and it's going to be advantage now to Central District. Larkins has got a bit of time and space in which to work. You can see that Langy's worked his way down, but Summerton has also. Fall the ball. Now looking to work it out is Charlie Duncan. Pulls the kick ever so slightly. Sampson to Shoeback. Now they're working on the outer side. Arundel. Twisting. Oh, they've been called for the hands of the back. I must admit, I didn't think it was the most subtle of efforts. Whitelam. Now it's with McCormack.
There's a big flood going on in the Central's forward line at the moment.
Certainly is. And Skinner just drops by to take the defensive mark, top of the Central's 50. Now Skinner is thinking about the switch. He's going to be called to make a decision shortly anyway, because the umpire's waving the arms in the air like they're playing My Sharona. They go out towards that outer side. Little at the back. Chips it over the top by hand. Whitelam, they're starting to become an influence on this contest. Langy. Sends Centrals again in towards the attacking zone. Full the ball. Dittmar, his journey's been stopped immediately there by Davis. Ball up.
Yeah, it's an interesting time of this game. Just when we thought the Panthers were right back in it, Centrals have kicked those last couple of goals and that margin out to 20 points.
McCarty was being held there, not too much doubt, I think, of that one. Quite liked his game on debut here for South Adelaide. Likes to go sideways. And this is where they're being caught up slightly. Schuback was able to work it short. Down towards Arundel. Now, is that going to be 25? Yes, it is. That makes a real advantage now for South Adelaide. They're actually about to go back 50 metres. Now they get the opportunity to go forward 25 more.
Not really taking risks, are they? They're just playing a safe game here at the moment. You sense they may have to risk losing by more to perhaps try to win this game, because it's certainly a lot of stop-start, going backwards and sideways here from the Panthers today.
Well, they took plenty of risks early on. Freitag takes a strong mark. And you want to keep taking
they get it forward there and they take a mark. Probably got to keep doing it.
Freitag. Now he's almost going to be forced to go back and have a shot, is he? No. He likes something he saw further down the line. That looks to be Tommy Wheaton. Now, not someone who's really known for his goal kicking.
Spot on, Chris. In that first quarter, they did take risks, didn't they? They went down the middle more. Certainly in this quarter, they've held the ball up more.
Goes back sideways to Arundel. They're just going to wait for the build-up, wait for a gap to open somewhere in the fabric. 1, 2, no. Wheaton now receives it for a throw-in.
Almost trying to find the perfect pass, and not really working for them in this quarter.
Not as yet. But I guess it's better than just dumping it forward, I suppose, to absolutely nothing for a throw-in. Wright's going at it. Ball still in dispute. Grant lays the tackle. Ball up.
But as you said earlier, just in that first quarter, they did play on more, didn't they? They played through the middle and attacked the goal face, and it worked for them.
Still time for a late goal here as well. Davis. That's going to be a free. Rid into the ground. Not too much doubt about that one. Central's players pleading their case. They're almost drawing diagrams by hand at the moment. That's not going to be too much good. Ollie Davis, 20 or more disposals, 9 of his last 11 matches. Now, the kick is not totally beyond him. He thinks it is. He's just going to lay it up about 20 out from goal. Over the shoulder there, a free tag. I reckon so to the umpire.
Well done.
And that's what Freitag brings to the table. Sorry, Danny just works his way to the front and makes it easier for umpires to pay frees in that respect.
Well, he's 199 centimetres. I can get it down to him a bit quicker, give him more of a chance. And this young, inexperienced Panthers side has been magnificent really today, you've got to say, since that first 10 minutes. And they can just get this one back, cut that margin to 14 points late in this quarter. And this will just keep their chances alive in this match.
Going to take every bit of his allotted time here. Here's Damon Freitag. 27.5, nearly 28 gone. Won't be too much more time left in this quarter. One of the trustiest left foots usually in the south. That's why. Gets his second. Gets South Adelaide's at 6. They are 6-2-38. Back to a 14-point margin on the edge of half-time. Central District 8-4-52 for Freitag's second.
Yeah, and that's his fifth goal of the season. So he's certainly been one of the Panthers, shining lights up forward this season, along with Fitt and Wilkinson. And as I said, stands an imposing 199 centimetres. And that is his 42nd goal of his league career in his 39th match. So he's good for a goal a game. If the Panthers can get another one late here, well, they can win the quarter. Still yet to, Centrals have won this quarter by a point at this stage.
Damon Freitag gold in 10 of his last 13 matches now for South Adelaide. So back in the centre, McCormack and Meggans. Another beautiful bounce there by the umpire. Tap down was favour McCormack, if anything. Sampson just was able to work the arms free. Schiller trying to create the turnover. Grant goes on hands and knees, shovels it back in towards the Sampson direction. Now it's with Charlie Duncan, who just chips over the top to Davis.
Been everywhere, hasn't he?
Certainly has. As Arundel takes the mark, and even he knows his limitations of journey with that one and presses it back to the umpire. 8 goals for 52 Central District.
Acquisition.
Ready to start this third term here on SANFL now with Chris Kendall and Dan Frangos. Central leading by 14 points. No ruckman was able to really get the clear purchase on that one. Ditmar was dispossessed. Barry also dispossessed. Smother comes in there from McCarty. Trying to work through now again. There is Ditmar. Comes out in towards the Tom Wheaton direction. Sampson spun around on a tackle. Was able to get rid of it. Just trying to hack it forward there was McCarty. Really liked his game on debut for South Adelaide. Comes back inboard by hand to Harry Grant. It goes out towards that outer side. Strong mark taken by Nick Schroeder. Speaking of younger players who are really growing into themselves, Sampson at halfback, off towards Elliot Duncan, who's such a good distributor across halfback as a rule. Sends it up and towards the Howes direction, just oversteps that play, but goes back in there a second time. Centrals, however, have the numbers at the moment at the stoppage. Trying to work through there was Wheaton over the top. Handball was looking for free tag. It's going to be paid here as a free, however, to Angus Bradley.
Good start here from the Panthers. Good start in this quarter. They attack the goal face. And, in fact, the free kick going to... Here it is, play on.
It was free tag to Bradley. I must admit, I wondered why Bradley was originally taking the free. It wasn't quite how I'd seen it, but that's why I'm up here. Howes navigates his way through traffic. The ball just needs to sit up, and soccering it off there was Draper, looking for his first score back in South Adelaide colours. Minor score, 13-point margin, 6-3 to South, 8-4 to Central. Yeah,
Draper was a high draft pick, wasn't he? Went up to Collingwood and unfortunately didn't play an AFL game.
McLennan working off halfback. Another player who has spent a fair bit of time in the AFL system didn't actually get a run at it, which was surprising at the Gold Coast Suns. Grant to Gasper, out towards Dudley. Under a reasonable degree of pressure, however, from Clifton. Throw in.
I reckon North Adelaide might have the record for the amount of players they've got in their side that have been on a list and haven't played a game. There's a whole host of them. Wigg and Spina and Jarman when he was there. So I reckon they've got the record. Mitch Harvey's another one.
Harry Wigg was another one who spent time at the Gold Coast Suns and could have get a game. In fairness, he had a fairly severe ankle injury for a lot of that time there.
Yep.
Says he was the leading ticket holder at the Gold Coast Suns, as the regular viewers will know. Anyway, Pudney, who looks to try and work it forward. Puts a lot of air into the cat. Elliot Duncan's got to sit under that for an awfully long time. Ball comes in now towards the Gasper and Dudley direction. Gasper just lost his feet. Schroeder kept his. Works it forward by foot, looking for Pudney. Meggans, did he nudge his opponent in the back? Yes, I think he did. I think Ollie Meggans knows that too deep down. So a meeting of the two more creative hairstyles and SANFL ends up with Pudney. Now Central looking for the first deep forward 50 entry. Summerton was able to bring it to ground. Gasper smothered out the handball. Pearce has had an awful lot of time and space in which to operate there. Skinner off by hand towards Charlie Duncan. Works it out of the back half looking for Meggans. Takes a strong mark over the top. Thought about the idea of the handball. Elects to go forward instead. Howes. Been fairly quiet in the first half. Goes South Adelaide up and towards the free tag direction. Great use of the body.
Gee, that was good, wasn't it? Magnificent use of the body there from free tag. He certainly freed the tag. And, this will be an important goal for the Panthers. This will be lining up for his third. And this to cut the margin, Chris, back to 7 points.
My compliments of the one-liners too, Daniel. You're learning to work in with the SANFL Now crew beautifully. If you want bad humour and worse puns, you've got it here.
I'm trying to catch up.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, it's a long bus full of bad ones. But Damon free tag. This to get the margin back to 7 points. Now for South Adelaide. Crowd hushed. 47 out. The umpire has not moved a muscle. 3 to free tag, 7 to South Adelaide. It's a 7-point margin to South Adelaide now. Still trailing, however, 8-4 52 Central Districts. South 7-3 45. Who supports community footy in SA? Amy does, with Damon free tags third.
Well, you spoke about the Bulldogs earlier, Chris, that they've only lost one quarter this season, and South have only won 2 quarters this whole season. So could this be the quarter that South actually win today? They backed now to 7 points. They've really been on top of this contest since about halfway through that first quarter. And, they certainly want to make this Flinders University Stadium a fortress again.
Free tag with 3 of the last 4 goals for South Adelaide. Back in the centre. Meggans is already on the move straight away. Tap down. Ditmar just working it forward for the Bulldogs. Puts it up towards half forward. Gasper. Got it off by hand towards Schiller, who puts out the don't argue. Had a player flanking out there on the outside. Larkin just coughed it up. Skinner ridden into the turf. No prior opportunity. Ball up.
Yeah, certainly an intriguing time of this game. In this third quarter here, we've gone 5 minutes. Central's probably hardly any of their players would have played in a victory out here.
Tom Wheaton, my apologies, not Skinner. Either way. South Adelaide just starting to really apply the tackle pressure now there with Jake Collins. So no ball up. No one's able to get real clear purchase on that one. It's going to be a free, and it's going to go to Central. Free and advantage. Interesting. Barry goes out in towards the pocket. Claverino just nudging Pearce out of it. The AFL experience coming to the fore.
Yeah, Claverino, Skinner. Gee, they've been good. Summerton back there really holding up for the Panthers, and this might be another 25 here.
Yeah, 2 25s against Dale Pearce. This is going to be 3 25s. Surely not.
Oh, he's still going.
No, it is 2 25s, but Claverino's played on while Pearce was arguing with the umpire. Up to a 4-on-1 contest. Numbers are with the Bulldogs there in that one. Ball, that's going to be umpire circling. He's circling. He's going to go hard in the ball. You can't just jump on the ball, lay on it, make no attempt to get rid of it, unless you're Sam Draper at Essendon, apparently. And now lining up from straight in front. We've been talking him into the contest. Eamon Wilkinson emerges with the pill.
He's that X factor, isn't he, up forward, that live wire that they really need. If they want to win this game, he's got to get involved because he's certainly their X factor in that forward line. Freetag and Fit have kicked the goals, 3 apiece. Arundel's kicked 1. Can Wilkinson get on the scoreboard too?
Central players, by the way, are still arguing with the umpire about the 250s, the 225s. I would suggest just get on with it, gents. Either way. Wilkinson. Central's players are still arguing in the background. Wilkinson comes in, 30 out. Oh, he's nailed that. We have got game on here at Noarlunga. 8-3-51 South Adelaide. Centrals are 8-4-52. It's back to a 1-point margin here. Round 3, SANFL Host Plus League action on SANFL now with Chris Kendall and special comments, Dan Frangos.
And I reckon the Panthers have got that slight breeze in this quarter. As I said, about a 1 or 2 goal wind going their way. So the Panthers have really got to win this quarter. They've got the margin now back to 1 point. And Wilkinson needs to get involved. That's his 86th goal in his SANFL League career from his 72nd game. And this is a really good response here from the Panthers.
Gauntlet being thrown down to the Bulldogs. You wouldn't have said that 10 minutes into the contest. This young Panther outfit is up and about today. Meggins and McCormack. Latter did get the tap down, trying to work through there. Emil Brennan goes through there. Sampson, Grant. Ball still just bobbling around at the contest. McCormack burst his way through the stoppage to Gaspar. This man's been very quiet in the last 25 minutes. South have done their homework on him. Nick Schroeder's done a pretty good job on him, but he'll now be lining up for his 5th.
Yeah, kicked 4 goals in the first quarter, Gaspar, and I reckon he kicked a point and an out on the full in that first quarter as well. So had 6 shots, this for his 5th goal, and this to get that margin back out to 7 points. A real steadier for the Bulldogs.
And someone has been watching footy for close on 50 years without betraying my age. Every time you think of Gaspar, you think of Dow or full-backs back in the 90s. This man's anything but. So Jake Gaspar comes in where Darren Gaspar used to fear to tread. 50 out. Laying that back. Is that working through? Yes, it is. That's worked its way back through very nicely. Back out to a 7-point margin. What a seesawing contest we have here at Noarlunga. 9-4-58. Gaspar's 5th. South Adelaide 8-3-51.
Oh, it's just a magnificent game, isn't it? Between, one side on the rise, you'd have to say, in the Bulldogs, and one side probably in a rebuilding phase in the Panthers, but you wouldn't know it today. The scoreboard says 9-4-58 to the Bulldogs. South Adelaide are 8-3-51. Back to 7 points. And we've gone almost 9.5 minutes here in the third quarter. Really interesting stage of this game. You sense South Adelaide would want to kick the next couple with the Bulldogs having just that slight breeze in the last quarter.
So umpire ready to ply his trade again. It's the second ruckman now of Hugo Munn and Damon Freetag back in the centre. Former did get the tap down. South just trying to work it through at the stoppage. Collins had Emil Brennan on the outside. Comes back in board. Schroeder Looped over the top by hand, or just second-guessed his option there. Ditmar taken high, not too much doubt about that. Free play on advantage. Grant works it forward, and they just kept playing to the whistle there, did Central District. Aidan Grace lining up for his first shot of the day after 5 last week.
Yeah, had a massive game, didn't he, last week? 5 goals against the Crows. As I said, Borlays was back there as one of their AFL fullbacks who played in the AFL last night. So Grace now, he has been their leading goal kicker the last 3 seasons for the Bulldogs, but all of those seasons he's only kicked about 28 or 29 goals in each of them.
Remember back in the mid-90s, you remember it, Daniel Frangos?
Yep.
Justin Scripps won the Glenelg goal kicking with 16. That shows how much things have changed. Either way, Grace. Oh, that's coming back beautifully. That's a magnificent strike of the ball. If you're a young player watching goal-kicking techniques, go back and rewind that 5 times. 10-4-64 Centrals. South Adelaide 8-3-51, and it's back out to that 13-point margin, keeping them at arm's length at the moment, the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Grace, that's his 95th career goal in his 59th game. He is the leading goal kicker on the Central District list in terms of career goals, approaching that 100 mark. And, well, the former Tasmanian, he's been an important pickup, hasn't he, for the Bulldogs about 4 years ago. And 26 years old now, so 189 centimetres. And he just provides just another option in that forward line. They've got a few with Pearce and of course Gasper today, who's kicked 5.
Coming right into that sweet spot of his career, you would think. Working out of the centre there is Arlo Draper. Pokes it out towards this grandstand side. It was up. Collins was the intended target. Langy. Oh, he runs straight back into Collins. Brilliant tackle, young man. That is fantastic work from a man in his 4th game of SANFL. Had the options covered. Charlie Duncan calling for it short. You can see the umpire calling to 29 Centrals. We should know their names by now. Nick Langy, very hard to miss. Anyway, that's easy for me to say. Goes up long towards half forward. Big fly comes at the top. Free tag was at the back. He's ridden to the turf for a ball up. This breeze is starting to puff up now, and if you're just joining us, it probably favours the South Adelaide end of the ground. Umpire throws it aloft. Tap down. Schiller put out the don't argue. Hurried it forward. It's to the advantage of Gasper, if anything. But he's been ridden into the turf straight away by Schroeder. Oh,
in the
backs of the umpire. Probably was there. Hopefully the effect smite's not picking up everything that's being said sideways. Gasper's played on. He's just got it forward to McLennan somehow. The players aren't actually sure at the moment. I don't blame them. It's very confusing out there. Free tag. Draper. Back in towards Arundel. Now working it forward is McCarty up towards half forward. Punch over the top. Favours Manu Liddy, if anything else. Should be able to extract it away by hands of McLennan. Normally a very cool, composed customer in this sort of situation. And spots it up there down the lines to Barrow. Now he's got Barry already on the move down the lines for him. Dudley's working into the 50 as well. He's about a kick and a half out from that zone. This sets it up perfectly for Skinner for the intercept. Wasn't able to quite mark it. Does bring it back to ground. Works his way through the issue. Central's by 13 points. Need to get a touch on this and they don't. McLennan will bring it back in for Central.
Yeah, that's one with that rule is it hurts you, doesn't it? Because you actually did well to get it down the line, but Central's got the ball back.
Come out again looking for Barrow. Skinner was at the front of the van. Free tag. Hurries it forward looking for Liam Fitt, but dropping in there is Wilkinson. Now he's got Bradley on the move down there. Works it forward. Can see that he's got a mismatch further down looking for Howes. Oh, what a mark.
Gee.
That might be mark of the day, sewn up for the round just about.
Just a magnificent mark. Wasn't it almost like the old Carey's Pagan's Paddock, I should say, in the 90s? The forward line was completely empty and they all ran back into space. And, well, he hasn't done much today, has he? The 18-year-old. What a promising career he's got in front of him. And this will be his first goal.
I think they're going from Pagan's Paddock to Howe's house down here. Well, let's see how he goes. Needs this one just to stem the slight momentum shift. He's worked that back really well. He read the breeze perfectly and gets it through for his first of the contest. It's back to 7 points. South Adelaide are 9-3-57. Central's 10-4-64. This has been an absolutely fantastic contest of SANFL football. Not always the cleanest, but you can't fault the endeavour.
I know we're only into round 3, but I reckon this is one of the games of the season so far. It's back to 7 points, and just when you think Centrals are going to get away, the Panthers kick a goal and get it back. They haven't been able to hit the lead, though, at this stage. We've gone 15 minutes here into the third quarter, and I reckon Centrals have led for the entirety of this match.
Looking around the grounds too, we actually don't have the close one. We've got the second highest margin going around the grounds at the moment. The only one that's blown that out is Glenelg by 37 over Adelaide. All the other games at the moment, Sturt on 9. West Adelaide trailing by 2. Anyway, Central go up towards half forward. Favours Elliot Duncan, if anything. However, working through there is Shoeback, who sends it up looking in there for Emil Brennan, but good mark there by Pudney. So Kai Pudney just putting the hand down, indicating he doesn't want to hurry it forward yet. Called to play on. Fullback going inboard.
Been a good pickup, hasn't he?
He has. Gives them that outside run they've been looking for. Skinner was in the van. Does he take the mark? Is he going to get the free? He's getting neither. Isaiah Dudley had it spent before he had it. Eyes lit up. Barrow just hurrying it forward. It's going to bounce up and towards the top of the 25. Summerton comes out to meet it. Oh, spinning straight into a tackle there. Not going to be holding the ball. He is just about away there as Ollie Davis. Ball up. 45 out from the Central District goal. Dittmar, who would look very at home, I would say, out here at Nollunga. All he needs, I think, is a panel van and a surfboard. This is a man who's got hair envy.
He's certainly been a good acquisition as well.
Sure has. Langy went straight into a tackle. I reckon that's high. That's unlucky there for South Adelaide. Certainly there every day of the week. Langy just felt the contact coming and lowered the knees ever so slightly.
Yeah, it was unlucky, wasn't it? It certainly was high, but as you said there, Chris, he certainly lowered down and, well, I'm not sure if he's going to have a shot here or pass it off. It looks like he is going to have a shot here late in this third quarter with the margin at 7 points.
Luca Whitelam's one of life's optimists. He ran down there for a lead in the pocket. Nick Langy would always own this situation, and he should. That's what he's there for. He has kicked one today. Opens up the angle slightly. That looked beautiful the second that left the boot. 11-4-70 for Central District. South Adelaide 9-3-57. And as we've said a few times in the call, it's just hanging around that 13-point margin. Langy second.
He's one of those players that just slips under the guard in that forward line. That's his 63rd career goal in his 46th game. All the focus seems to be on the likes of Aidan Grace and Pearce, Hugo Munn, of course, as well, and Gasper. But Langy, well, he's been good at both ends today, playing on the wing, and that's his second goal today.
As I mentioned very quickly around the grounds, it's North leading by 5 at Prospect, Nord by 2 at Port Lincoln, and at Glenelg by 31, just off Spec Adelaide kick a goal at Stratorama Stadium. But either way, we're back at Nollunga. Meggans, tap down. Sampson, Davis, back in towards Sampson. He's got a little bit of time and space in which to move. Takes a bounce, cuts back inboard. Going to be forced to work it in towards the pocket, looking for free tag. Oh, gee, I love watching this man when he's on song.
Well, things just seem to happen when Sampson's got the ball. Watched on, of course, here by his father, Clay Sampson, the former AFL player. Saw him at half-time, and he's an interested onlooker. And, well, this man's been a big presence, hasn't he? Free tag, certainly since quarter time.
I've got the votes in the SANFL now. 3-2-1 Player of the Year award. They're going to be a nightmare at the moment. We've still got a fair bit of time in the contest. There's been lots of big efforts in fits and starts. Now, free tag has got to start this hard right. No, I reckon that's not quite hard right enough. Minus score, 9-4-58. Back to a 12-point margin at the 18, nearly 19-minute mark. South 9-4, I should say. Central 11-4 as it comes back in and finds Splan, who received it from Presbury. So Splan, he's going to have to go very, very short to Isles. Bearing in mind they're kicking with the breeze at the moment, South Adelaide, which is starting to puff up. So they want to try and restrict to this end of the ground as much as possible in this closing 9 or 10 minutes. In the van there was Whitelam, great mark. It's really strong mark against free tag.
Do you reckon that's a part of that, Chris? So just that holding it up, chipping it around a bit, just, waiting almost for the last quarter to come when they've got the breeze at their back.
Yeah, it would run a bit of clock down, but you've also got to keep attacking with that side of things. Tap down. It's the feet there of Shoeback. Went back in there a second time. Free's been picked out. Which way is that going to go? Going to go to Jonty Schuback by the look of it. Quite like his game today as well. Uses it pretty well as a rule. He's got Angus Bradley in the centre. He's got Elliot Duncan there as well. He's got Emil Brennan further down the lines, but he likes to go short to Claverino. Emil Brennan's still on. Oh, he's got to be really precise with this. Showed a fair bit of faith there in young Schroeder, and that allowed Wilson Barry into the contest. Works his way around, hurries it forward. Emil Brennan gets it in by hand now towards McCarty. So the newer players keeping it amongst themselves. Claverino goes out towards the outer side. Meeting it up is Collins. Collins playing a high sort of half-forward role at the moment. Up towards Fitt. Brilliant first quarter. Haven't seen much of him after that, but Centrals have corralled him well. Liam Fitt onto that trusty left foot. Well, right to say that he kicks into the man on the mark. Has to go back in there and address the situation he partly created. He's going to draw the free too.
Gee, did well, didn't he, to get back involved. And it's play on here. Can the Panthers make something out of this?
Schuback up the lines. He's trying to work it around. Coming now is Arlo Draper. Inboard by hand. Off towards Davis. Now Sampson, he loves this sort of situation but doesn't love the finish. Umpire dances a long way to his right for a minor score. 9-5, 11-point margin.
Yeah, that would have been nice, wouldn't it? He is a bit of a goal kicker. Has kicked 36 goals in his career, and gee, that would have been handy.
Pudney. South at 3-3 for this term. Centrals are 3 straight. So Pudney brings it out into a contested situation that's set up perfectly for Detmar.
They're just holding it up a little bit in this last 6 or 7 minutes, going into the wind.
Ditmars isolates Barry right in front of the SANFL now commentary team of Chris Kendall and Dan Frangos. John doing a fantastic job on the camera as always, as to all of our camera people. Jeff, Darren, Nicole, without them we don't go to air, and they really appreciate their work. Out towards the outer side, Skinner stayed down when everybody else went up. Sampson. He's just thinking his way through the situation. This one's going to have to be precise. Yeah, it was a beautiful isolation of McCarty. Oh, it's to the feet there of the target. The feet were moving for Schuback before the hands had really finished the execution. Now Barreau over the top towards Munn. Comes in Grace, just works it forward. He's looking for Dudley. Is that going to work through for a minor score? Yes, it is. Back to 12 points. 11-5, 71 Centrals. South 9-5, 59. Just need to settle a little bit South Adelaide in this last couple of minutes. Centrals are pressing. Claverino got a fair bit of breeze to work with. Now he has got a mismatch down the line. He spotted that first one with Wheaton, but Meggins is probably a very slight mismatch, although Munn's with him now. So Wheaton, it's almost like he heard the commentary box. Goes up and towards the Meggins direction. Fly on the top. Draper couldn't bring it to ground. Meggins could. Brings it off by hand, but straight towards Billy Oles. Wilkinson saw that coming and stopped his journey.
Certainly an interesting time in this game with the margin at 12 points. If Centrals get it, you think with the wind at their back in the last quarter, they might run away. But if South can get it, get that margin back to 6, and that won't help them. He's been good all day, Meggins. He's been magnificent, I reckon. But that one went against him. Yeah,
it just went into the back of Munn a little bit early. I was just calling pass for the handball receive. 23.5 gone. There's still a bit of time in the contest for the quarter. Munn. Gasper at the front of the contest. The whole pack just about descended upon him. Skinner. Was he able to work it away? No, he wasn't, to the umpire. Why is he letting it flow? Because he can't see what's going on there, so I don't guess. Well umpired. Ball up. Plenty around the contest for both teams as Clifton enters the arena. Draper. Stuck out his hand there, just had his pocket picked by Whitelam. There should be an easy pick-off for Emil Brennan or Claverino. Someone's got to call shotgun on this one. Emil Brennan ultimately does. Back into Claverino. Back to Emil Brennan. He was caught holding the ball. That's a fantastic tackle there by Ditmar. Now, this 2-on-2 contest in the 50. Up and towards the Gasper direction. Oh. Gee, this man's making the footy talk. And at the moment, it's talking multiple languages.
We'll talk about the SANFL now, 3-2-1. Well, it changes. It's probably changing every minute here because I cannot locate who's going to get it at this stage. This man is certainly amongst it, though. He's kicked a game-high 5 goals. In fact, in a match where no other players kicked more than 3, and no other Centrals players kicked more than 2.
Luca Whitelam again running into space looking for the ball. I love his optimism, but These are the situations, Luca, that you need to let your forwards own. Gasper want to start this left to right. Nearly 25 gone. Hits the 50. Not quite far, not too far. Still in a very dangerous part of the ground, Langy. Trying to get his foot to it. Grant in there also. He spun around multiple tackles. No holding the ball, no prior. In a very dangerous part of the ground still for South Adelaide. Central would love to pinch one on the siren just about. Pearce. Tap down. Schiller works through traffic. Claverino couldn't quite get it away. Pearce. I reckon he's had prior in there and the umpire agrees.
That was a big play for the Panthers to win that one. Really important, and they get a 25-metre as well. Because I'll tell you what, if Centrals has got one there, would have gone out to 3 goals. And Centrals, if you've just joined us, will have the wind, the slight 2-goal wind at their back in the last quarter.
Dale Thomas has given away 3 25s in this term. That's the sort of stuff that Paul Thomas will be most displeased with. As it comes out now towards Schroeder. Elliot Duncan over the top. Now, Elliot Duncan's got nothing really with a lot of conviction. It's a slight mismatch if you're going out towards Howes. Right on cue. Howes leaps early. McLennan. McCormack. Liddy. Didn't like what he saw in that direction, so spun back into another one. McLennan. Larkin. The voice cruising past of Harry Grant. That's held up in the breeze to straight towards Summerton. There's players free everywhere if he can see them.
Well, this is where they've got to go now.
And they're getting the 1 minute call at the moment you can hear on the bench. This is the thing I love about being in this commentary box. We can hear all the communication from the benches. So Duncan at centre wing. Inside the last 45 seconds. Just about coughed that up McCarty. Elliot Duncan comes back to relieve. Punch comes over the top there from McCormack. Throw in.
Yeah, I was down there at half-time, actually, and the Panthers players, as they were running onto the field, they were talking about pressure. Let's pressure them early. They've certainly done that in this quarter. They've won the quarter at this stage. They've cut that margin from 14 points back to 12. Can they get a late one here, the Panthers?
As Gasper's just on the bench at the moment, so one into his 5. Meggans taps forward. It's going to be, yep, they can see them asking for it to be called over. Is that going to be a throw-in? Yes, it is. Emil Brennan was trying to extract a free for a push. So right in front of your SANFL now broadcast position. Chris Kendall and Dan Frangos. Very proud to bring you this contest on SANFL now. Round 3, host plus SANFL action at Flinders University Stadium. Meggans bounced off his chest. Schiller to Grant. That's spinning backwards in the breeze. Larkins has got to run backwards with the flight, but the siren sounds. And we have got a really, really intriguing contest here at Flinders University Stadium. Centrals holds the ball aloft. Meggans and McCormack today. It's largely been an alphabetical ruck contest. Meggans, I think, has probably had the better of McCormack and Munn overall. No one was able to win that contest. Meggans tried to burst his way through. Looking to hurry it forward now. Davis just gets the arms free and extracts the kick up towards half forward. Strong mark taken in there by Arlo Draper. Fitz calling for it. Just needs to hold his nerve and does. Great work from Arlo Draper. Saw that Fit had just got that metre of separation on the reigning Magarey medalist in Harry Grant. And this to the perfect start for South.
Yeah, Draper, of course, drafted by Collingwood. Spent a couple of years on their list and has just returned back to the SANFL. Showed all of his class there, and this to put the margin here back to a single goal.
Fit comes in. That's work back. He loved that as soon as it left the foot. We have really got game on now at Noarlunga. It's back to a 6-point margin. 10-5, 65, South Adelaide. Central District's 11-5-71. Who supports community footy in SA? Amy does. Liam Fitt with his 4th of the day.
Do they believe the Panthers? That's the question. They've lost both of their opening games. Centrals are playing with confidence. They believe. You've got to say they're up there at a 2-0 record. The Panthers, I've actually done a count here, have 12 players with 5 games or less, would you believe? 12 players with 5 games or less. Do those youngsters believe they can get over the top here into the wind?
Let's see how exuberance matches against experience. McCormack tapped down, but it was straight to the path there of Davis. Sampson flicked it up further. Dispossessed in there South Adelaide player. Comes over the top now towards Pudney. Who has to try and step his way around the Elliot Duncan issue. Goes back in boards. Central trying to work it in towards the huddle, but Tom Wheaton takes it. He was down a second ago and has recovered very quickly. Well done, young man. This is a young man that you can see has got a long football career ahead of him. Very good decision maker as a rule. Spots it up to a 3-on-1. And Callum McCarty was more than up to that. Talk about knowing your new teammates.
Gee, what a debut it's been from McCarty. From Essendon VFL, of course.
At the moment, it's like the old book in the 70s, The Great McCarty. And they're going out towards the Pudney direction, however, or he takes it harmlessly on the chest, brings it in board. Now it's with Liddy. So Liddy going long and deep out in towards the pocket. Saw that McLennan had drifted down. McLennan want to get a hand on it because it's going to be a free kick last touch rule otherwise, much to Jake Arundel's delight.
Yeah, that's where the rule hurts you, doesn't it? You do kick it forward 50 or 60 metres, gain a bit of meterage, but the ball goes back against you.
Comes back in board. A little bit too hot down there for the intended target in Davis. Megan's at the fall of the ball, or also Jared Schiller halts the party before it gets too out of hand. Ball up.
Next goal's pretty big here, isn't it, Chris?
Most
South, they can get it. Well, back on an even kill. Central's get it, of course. You sense they'll run away.
Pudney to Grant to McLennan. He sends him up in towards the top of the 50. The punch came in there from Skinner, looping over the top. Larkins just has to try and work and think his way around the issue. Sends it up towards the square. Great punch in there from Claverino to knock it over for a minor score. 11-6-72. Central, South 10-5-65.
Gee, they've got some warriors back there, don't they? Claverino, Summerton, Skinner. Gee, they play a tough, contested, defending brand back there.
Certainly do. South now have got numbers moving on this outer side. Steps in board, comes in board towards McCarty. Another forward 50 entry here now for South Adelaide. Strong defensive mark taken down there by Splan, who goes sideways. That can be a free 25 years. South Adelaide player just crept over the mark back there, so that's going to have to go back. It's no advantage.
Been a few 25s in this game. It certainly has.
Most certainly. Haven't they all been at that end of the ground too? I wonder if perhaps the wind blows away the umpire's instructions. It's about all I can think of for Hiles. The players say, yes, we'll run with that, CK. That works. Pudney. Keeping it towards the outer side. Schiller. Jared Schiller. Over the top by hand now towards McLennan. He's got 5 or 6 metres of space. Looks to centre the ball in. Punch over the top of Grace. Pearce. The unlikeliest of rovers. Brings it in board by hand. Grant. Shoveled it back in towards the McLennan direction. Pudney deep in the pocket. Has to try and work it back. Ball's in a very dangerous part of the ground for South Adelaide. Emil Brennan certainly taken high there. Did drop the knees though. That was clever work from Emil Brennan. Knew the contact was coming and made it look even more damning.
And another 25 there.
Oh boy.
So that was a big call though, wasn't it? You've seen them paid the other way. He did certainly duck the knees, but I reckon he deserved that.
Finn Emil Brennan. He's off to the races. Up towards that outer side of the ground. Arundel and Schiller. Schiller was able to bring it back to a situation neutral. Grant just has to try and step his way around the Wheaton issue. Pudney had a few options going through his head. Elected to go with the experienced one of Schiller. McLennan, who steps his way through the situation. Back to Pudney, back to Schiller. The stream's not buffering, folks. They're just sharing among themselves. Going towards the forward 50. Claverino! Oh no, not paid. Liddy, 40 out. What a time to bob up with his first of the day. The turnover came. They thought Claverino was going to be paid the mark, but the umpire had other ideas. 12-6-78. South Adelaide 10-5-65.
Yeah, it was a big non-decision, wasn't it? Play on was the call, and well, that one is a really important goal if you're a Central fan. That gets that margin back out to 13 points. It's 12-6-78 to South Adelaide, 10-5-65. And we've gone almost 6.5 minutes in this final quarter here at Flinders University Stadium. Just when you thought the Panthers were getting back into this contest. It's been a bit like that all day. Central's find a way to kick a goal against the flow, and they just cannot hit the lead, in fact. Centrals have been in the lead this entire match.
Since the 1 minute mark of the third turn, the margin has not been beyond 13 points. However, it has never been South Adelaide's way at any stage through the contest. Liddy gets it off by hand. Working through the centre here as Barry goes up long and direct up in towards the hot spot. Claverino gets the punch in. Needs some defenders at the fall of the ball. Collins look to try and shovel it forward. Now Duncan loops it over the top by hand. Going to be working off here through Shoeback. Plenty of numbers flying. Draper was at the fall of the contest initially. Ditmar wrapped up in a tackle straight away. High, said the umpire. Howell's a bit exuberant. And
just an important ball, wasn't it, to win there for the Dogs. Just holding up in an important stage of this contest.
Ditmar sends him up towards half forward. Strong mark taken at the front there by Barrow. He wants to just play on quickly. He can see that there's a bit of a mismatch in the square, but they knocked through for another minor score. 3 of Central's last 4 scores have been rushed behind. The South defence under siege. 14-point margin Central's way.
Can that 9-year hoodoo be broken here? We're about 20 minutes away from the Dogs conquering this this ground, really, where they haven't tasted success since August 2015.
Elliot Duncan to bring it back in. You can see that Meggans is out this side with Howes, and Meggans takes it in the chest. Oh, no, not paid, said the umpire. So they had first and second purchase on it, not the final. Meggans not arguing with the umpire. He was not to with so many 25s being paid. Throw in.
It's been incredible, hasn't it? The amount of 25s paid.
Yep, I'd say there'll be a few penalties handed out at training for that sort of stuff as well as is wont to do. Ditmar taps down, is looking for Barry. Trying to shovel it forward is Munn, ball up.
Although sometimes I've noticed it actually halts the momentum. It allows the players to get back, and perhaps they may look to bring back the 50-metre rule in the future, because I reckon at times it can be a penalty.
Ball still in dispute with Harry Grant leading in the race for it. And they're saying that it's touched off the foot. Grant's just pleading his case to the umpire, but they're not buying what Harry Grant's selling today. Throw in.
Just been at his industrious best, hasn't he? Had 30 possessions last week against the Crows, and today's been very good as well. Grant.
Barry trying to work it forward. Dudley trying to dance his way through. Shoeback just hurried it forward, but not with enough penetration. Grant, the 2 Centrals players fighting for it. Working through now is Splan. They send Centrals in towards the pocket. Dale Pearce stayed down. Is that going to be a free advantage? No, it's to South Adelaide. Claverino impeded in the marking contest.
So he's been important, hasn't he? He's been important all day and for a long time for this club.
Sure has. Comes out now towards Bradley. Now spots it up on the outer side to Sampson. Just waiting now for something. He's just called to go around his man. No, he's going to have to keep it out towards the outer side. Just chips over the top where it's McCarty.
Well, they're going into that slight wind, so they're trying to hold it up and chip it around. Perhaps at some point they may need to risk losing by more to actually kick those 3 goals that it will take for them to hit the lead.
Fit kept his feet when everybody around lost theirs. Takes a bounce. Takes a second. Can see he's got Hugo Munn covered. Puts out the don't argue. Takes a third. Hurries it in towards the forward line, but straight onto the chest of McLennan. But that's the sort of chances they need to take at the moment. Just got to keep running it forward. Gain some territory. But it's still a 14-point margin Central District way. McLennan out the outer side. Shoeback stayed down. A long penetrating ball in towards the 50. Little just used the body cleverly against Howes. Showing a little bit more of experience.
Yeah, disappointing to be outmarked there. That was needed to be at least brought to ground.
I'll get Wilson Barry stats from you in a moment, Dan, because he's one of those players that I reckon has the habit of creeping up on you. You sort of look towards the end of the day as Kendall just knocks it over the boundary line for a throw-in. And I reckon he's the sort you look up and suddenly find he's got 23 or 24 before you know it. In his 3rd SANFL game.
Yeah, before today's game, he was averaging 21 possessions a game and a goal a game. We'll get those stats in a moment.
Meggans and McCormack. No one able to really get a clear option on it. Jared Schiller can. Torps it forward, but straight onto the chest of Claverino. They're trying to extract a 25. Actually, Bradley's about in the... But Dudley, I should say, is almost in the protected zone. Anyway, they work into the centre. Comes up McLennan. Now works it forward. This is a big contest to win. Charlie Duncan does so. Well done, young man. Oh, chipping it over the top in towards the Wilkinson direction. Well done, as Larkins was able to bring it back to situation neutral. Now it's inboard again. Fitz forced to go onto the right foot. He was looking down there for Bradley, wasn't able to quite bring it to ground. It's going to come back out in towards Langy, who should take a harmless mark on the chest.
Yeah, Wilson Barry's had 14 possessions. Been very important today for the Dogs.
Certainly has. Langy goes sideways. Now towards Whitelam. And now Cade Dittmar, as Jono Parker brings us up the team sheets for the SANFL W game. Really appreciate all of Jono's work he does for us here on SANFL now. We'll be calling that game afterwards, myself and Chrissy Steen, two-time SANFL W Premiership coach. Now Arundel's calling for the receive again. Calling for teammates to come to him. Has to step his way around the Cade Dittmar issue and chip it back in board. This is going to have to be precise, and it was to Bradley. Can go sideways, where it's with Clifton. Was looking for Clifton originally, but Sampson called shotgun. Sampson goes up in towards the danger zone. They've got numbers here, Central District. Howes throws it onto the foot. That's been touched. Umpire calls play on. Looking down the line. They're going to want to knock it over the boundary line, you would think, at the moment, South Adelaide. Schroeder does so for a throw-in.
Yeah, they just cannot penetrate, can they? They've had it up in their forward 50 a few times in the last 5 minutes. The Panthers just unable to kick that goal that they need. And Central's certainly holding up.
And they can at the moment. And Centrals can do that. They can just take, 35 to 45 seconds off the ball now and again and just slow the game down. Sampson. Speculative handball. Luckily, the investment paid off because he found Wheaton, who sends South Adelaide up and towards the goal square, but McLennan just works it out so carefully and coolly. Larkins. Now he's got a man breaking through space. It's Harry Grant. Chips it over the top. This is set up perfectly for Aidan Grace, who's going to be forced to go back and have a shot just about himself. Schuback is in a one-on-one down there with Dudley. Grace has seen that. He's looking to work it through. Minor score. 12-8-80. It's a 15-point margin Central's way. 14 gone.
Well, that would have all but sealed it, wouldn't it? But G. McLennan's been impressive back there in the last 5 or 6 minutes, hasn't he? Just held up. And not only that, he's rebounded and allowed Centrals to get that forward entry.
So, comes out in towards the Emil Brenner direction. His game's just built in stature as it's gone on. Claverino very short. It's just got the advantage there over Barrow. And elects to play on. Emil Brennan receives it back in the 1-2. Works it down, looking for Meggans. Fit, falls to his feet at the back. It's an empty forward 50 ahead of him. Now this is going to be an easy pick-off, you would say, for Splan, who loops over the top towards Whitelam. Larkins is short. Further down the lines is Presbury. Megan's got the hand in. That could be critical. Claverino. Back in by hand. Collins. Oh, he's coughed that one straight up there towards Billy McCormack, who is largely minding his own business.
Yeah, we've talked about how good Centrals have been in attack this season, averaging 95 points a game, but that defence certainly really holding up in this last quarter.
Skinner just slipped through his hands. The fall of the ball there was Clifton. He's been ridden to the turf. I'm afraid that's going to be very close, but umpire pays benefit of the doubt. There's a vociferous group of fans on the hill for Central District, mightily unhappy with that decision. Free tag, takes it out of the air, hurries it forward, out of bounds on the full.
Central's coach Paul Thomas there ripped off his headphones and actually was shouting at his own players. So there's a lot of voices over the fence here.
And to bring it back in, right in front of us here is George Kendall. From one Kendall to another. That's going very, very close to the boundary. They'll be wanting to knock it over South Adelaide and do. Throw in. 15-point margin. And we've only had 2 goals kicked in this term. It won't be a very long final term. As you mentioned, Dan, I reckon a goal to Centrals, it's curtains for South Adelaide.
Yeah, South certainly need that next goal. And the longer this goes, the harder it's going to be to get back in this game. Time is ticking away here.
Collins taken high, said the umpire.
They need something out of this one.
Centrals have got 1, 2. They've got 4 loose at the moment across centre. So that's what they're just going to have to wait for. South Adelaide pick through the holes carefully. Emil Brennan. Gee, Freitag's certainly being held down the lines. The umpires missed that one. Trying to keep it in now is Arundel. Takes a bounce. Takes a second. Takes a third. Kicks it out towards the top of the 50. Well done there by Elliot Duncan to try and punch it in towards the Liam Fitt direction. But Jez McLennan's
there he is
cool
again.
and calm in the contest. You might be able to get it straight back because Collins goes for the fly over his own teammate Ollie Davis, if you don't mind. Somerton tries to punch it forward to advantage. Nobody at all in the Central District's 50 at the moment. Skinner just whisks it back, and sitting under that is Collins, who takes a brave mark.
Great mark.
Now he's called to play on. He's going to have to go back in board. That's clever. Centrals at the moment do have all the answers, you would think, though. Clifton puts them in towards the 50. Guess who? Jez McLennan. They're just going to try and work it out carefully through this back half. They're picking through it like a parent looking through Lego blocks in the bedroom at night. Larkins comes down to ground, spins around, gets the tackle off. Umpire's called holding the ball on that one. Larkins is protesting.
I'll tell you what, how good's McLennan been? We spoke about him about 5 minutes ago. He's got better. He's really holding the Dogs up in their defensive 50.
Schroeder in board now to Elliot Duncan. Clifton just massages the ball forward to Angus Bradley. Now South out towards Freitag. Oh, gee, this man. He bobs up when you seem to need him. It's almost a break glass. Where's Damon?
He's been good, hasn't he? Kicked 3 goals, the 23-year-old. This really has to go through. We're almost at approaching the 19-minute mark, approaching time on. This to cut the margin back to 9 points.
Can see Mark Ross and Paul Thomas watching on with great interest just down to my left. Freitag has 3 at the moment. Now he needs to start this left and probably about halfway between the point and goal post. 19 gone. No. Oh, no. Minor score. 10-6 City 66. The Battle of Hastings, as an old colleague of ours used to say, in the form of Dennis Brown. Central 12-8-80.
You've got to say that one side out here knows how to win at the moment, and that's Central's. The way you can have a winning culture, and they've got it at the moment.
They're just doing all the little things, aren't they? Freitag's looking to claim the mark, and he's been given it well. I thought there were a few pairs of hands on that one, to be truthful. Freitag up towards the square. That's going to be a harmless pick off there again. And you think Whitelam just got a bit of...
I mean, half the Panthers side haven't even played in a win yet at league level.
Brings out towards this grandstand side, right for your broadcast position of Chris Kendall and Dan Frangos. Trying to claim the mark is Claverino, but he's been wrapped up in a tackle. Ball up. We're on the edge of time on now, and bear in mind only 2 goals scored in this term, so it won't be too long. Freitag tries to tap it back in towards the danger zone. Barry with possession number 15. In towards the centre. They've coughed that one up now, and Charlie Duncan. Going to be called to play on. Spotted something he liked further out the lines, but McLennan was awake up to that one. 3 Panthers down there. Elliot Duncan spun straight into Isaiah Dudley, and that's going to be holding the ball.
Gee, what a quarter this is from McLennan. Everything they do, the Panthers getting it up there, and the Foss Williams medalist, I should say, in the state game against Victoria, of course. McLennan has really been the difference in this final quarter back there.
I don't look at the stats when I do the SANFL now 3-2-1 Player of the Year awards, so that's all done completely SAN stats, but McLennan has had a truckload of it in this term. Pudney works down again for the outer side. Munn was at the van and brings it to ground. Yes, he's taken the mark.
Big mark, wasn't it? Just holds it up a little bit, lets those seconds go a little bit here, and he'll kick it long.
He's got a raking kick on him. So that is going right up in towards the teeth of goal. Strong mark. And that could just about be the sealer as Whitelam bobs up with it.
Gee, Whitelam, another one of the great players for Centrals today, and certainly this season, the 20-year-old. They've also, not as young as South, of course, but Centrals have a lot of young players as well in their side, and this guy has been impressive.
Has gold in 6 of his last 8 matches, so you would back him here just about every time. 22 gone. This to end a very long losing streak at Noarlunga. Comes in, 30 out, shouldn't miss from there, and does not. Good night, South Adelaide. Central District take the points and will go 3 and zip to start 2024. They are 13-8, 86. South Adelaide 10-6, 66.
Yeah, it's a famous victory here for the Bulldogs. If they go on and continue to hang on and win this game, and I'd dare suggest probably all of their players, if not maybe Pressbury might have played or Schiller, but I reckon at least 20 of the Bulldogs out there would never have tasted a win out here at Noarlunga with the side not having won here for 9 years. So this is a famous victory.
And looking around the grounds, Nord by 9 at Port Lincoln, Glenelg by 45 at Glenelg, North holding on by 3 at the moment. It's a very low scoring contest out there, however. Only 9 goals kicked and they're in the third term. Tap down. Trying to work through now is Ollie Davis. Pockets partly been picked. McLennan, gee, what its final term he's had. Isolates an option out here on this grandstand side. Gonna have to go backwards with the flight there. Ollie Davis wasn't able to quite bring it to ground. Ball up, 23 gone.
South have been admirable though, haven't they, in this last quarter? They've got the ball up in their 50 more often than Central's had. They just haven't been able to kick that goal that they needed.
Schiller to McLennan. Thought about the inboard handball, but elects to chip over the top and spots it up now to Pearce.
So he can do it all, McLennan. Formerly on the Gold Coast list. I reckon it was for about 4 years as well, Chris, and never played an AFL game. And what he's showing in this last quarter, he's certainly got a future ahead of him too.
I'm a huge Gold Coast man, as you know. That's Gold Coast's loss rather than anything else. Certainly should have had a look at it, but either way, Dale Pearce will be lining up to put an emphatic exclamation mark on the contest from outside 50. Crosses the centre square line. Puts a fair bit of air into that one. Minor score, but it's a 21-point margin, 13-9 to 10-6.
We spoke about sometimes you just know how to win. Sometimes when you're winning a lot, you find ways to win. And South at the moment are losing a lot, and they're probably not sure how to win at the moment, if that's a fair statement to say, because Central certainly know how to win at the moment.
This is when that experience, Ed, comes in that we've talked about before. There's not a lot of players in this team, as you've mentioned, that have had too many winning games. Here is Noah Howes, however, bobs up. Just has to waltz through and miss from the top of the square almost. Deary me. 10-7, 67. 13-9, 87. Regardless of what stage in a contest, you can't miss those.
Yeah, he'll learn from that. Only 18. He'll get better, but yeah, certainly one that got away there for the Panthers.
Barry. Top of the defensive 50. Don't forget, after this contest, myself and multi-SANFL W Premiership coach Chrissy Steen are going to bring you all of the action from the SANFL W. As the ball just spills at the back of the contest. Barrow just taps it forward for a throw-in. But they will drive home with the point, Central District.
Yeah, they'll enjoy this one, won't they? It's been a big drought. Most of these players never tasted victory here, and they'll enjoy the drive home.
So Barrow was the last touch rule with that one. Right in front of your SANFL commentary tour of Chris Kendall, Dan Frangos, John on camera. Up towards the 50. Drifting through, 1-2. Oh. Great mark down there by Aidan Grace.
I mean, you know you're playing well when this guy has only kicked one goal and hasn't been his usual self. And he just, you know, a lot of the focus goes to him, doesn't it, of course? And it allows the likes of Gasper to slip under the guard with 5 goals and Lange to get 2 and Pearce to bob up as well. So they've got some options up there, the Bulldogs, this season.
Grace to extend the margin beyond 20. Oh, that's coming back. Oh, what a finish. What a full stop. Amazing Grace, all right, as he gets his second. 14-9, 93 to a 26-point margin. That's actually a game high, and it hasn't been that margin since late in the first term. South 10-7, 67.
Yeah, and that's the 96th goal of his league career, so closing in on the magical 100 mark. And, he's an important cog in this side. When you've got, he's almost, he can play full forward, he can play centre-half forward, he can play that hybrid forward as well. He's a real creative player and reminds me a bit of Tom Lynch, who used to play for the Crows, almost that link man.
Yes.
So he can play that role, he can kick goals, and he's a really important member of this Bulldog side. And, well, 26 points now. And this was the margin about halfway through that first quarter when it was 4 goals, 2-0.
So back in the centre. South Adelaide have launched a brave challenge, but this Central District team is in great form at the moment. They're going to be very hard to stop moving forward. Davis up towards the top of the 50. McLennan. Punch came in. He just tries to work his way through the situation. Ball up.
You've got to say the Panthers have given this a crack, haven't they? 12 players with 5 games or less experience at league level, and they've certainly held their own today.
And that really is all that the fans can ask for, I think. Just players to have a go at the moment. That's really what they're doing as the siren sounds. And Central District winning by 26 points here at Flinders University Stadium. Central District's 14-9-93. South Adelaide 10-7-67. The goal kickers for Central District. Gasper had 5, 2 apiece to Langy and Grace, singles to Pierce.